First, do we have any guests here? Okay, we'll move to item C1 to introduce new personnel.
You can go.
Jessica Alvarado, Recreation Superintendent. So first I wanted to introduce Haley, and Haley will introduce our newest product coordinator.
Like Jessica said, I'm Haley. I'm the assistant manager of the Aquatic Center. And then I'm introducing Cassie Wilder. She is our new aquatics coordinator. Cassie has been at the Aquatic Center for some time as a head lifeguard. She recently graduated with her master's degree in social work from TWU, Texas Women's University. She's recently married also. So she just got back from her honeymoon and she likes to cook and has lots of cats and is a tremendous asset to our facility. Very happy.
What? How many cats do you have? Six?
A lot
You foster them or you just keep them?
Next, I'll be introducing Jonathan Avina. Jonathan Avina is our newest community event coordinator. Manager, sorry, Stephanie Perez is our newest community events coordinator. I'll let them.
So I'm Jocelyn. Most of you guys know me. I did start off here at the rec center in 2016. I recently got a promotion to community event manager. We did change the title. Stephanie is the new community events coordinator. Stephanie also started in 2016 here over at the rec center. She helped facilitate all the events here alongside with me and Jessica. So she's really excited. She did leave last May to graduate from UNT. So she just came back, graduated with her mechanical engineering degree. Do you want to say? To be on the events side.
Welcome aboard.
Yes, but while I'm here, I did make a brown folder. Inside you have your VIP letter with your firecracker pass, and this year we are going to utilize the venue for a VIP hosting for council, board, and all the board members. So you please wear your wristband. There will be a check-in system, which will be Haley and Cassie.
We can go over that more when we get to the recreation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. And C2 will consider the approval of minutes for the May 16, 2024 meeting and take appropriate actions. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes? Motion to approve. Okay. Have a second? Second. Any discussion? Any edifications or additions or deletions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? C3 is review the Dutch Village playground options and take the appropriate action.
I'm sorry, let me just say a few things and I'll let you go through the options. Thanks. So briefly, I just want to let you guys know on the Dutch Village. So in the update that you have in your packet, you saw that we have cleared the site. The playground, the old one was taken out, the one that was destroyed in the fire. So in general, the options in we've been working on one particular vendor. And I'll let Mark speak to the kind of that experience, but really what we're looking for when we go through these is really just they're kind of themed. And so really what we're wanting to take away is just kind of the theme you all are looking at, what would be most appropriate. And then probably what we'll end up doing is, not sure we'll use this vendor that we put in here, but we wanted to at least get some input now and kind of some general direction. So that way, if we do go with another vendor, we'll have a direction and we'll keep it in that same. Because really, to the most part, these playgrounds the companies are relatively all very close and similar. And so I think what this vendor did do is kind of really give a good representation of the different types, themed playgrounds you all could see. So I'll let Mark go through all the different options with you.
What order they're in?
Yes.
Sorry. The first option, the Whimsy, is kind of the modern theme one. Let me start really by saying that we weren't very happy with what we had here. And for the amount of time that we waited on them to get some of this turned around, I don't feel, and my staff doesn't feel, that they really hit the ballpark of what we were asking for. And they have gone back to the drawing board to try to get us a little more of where we think we need to be with what they put here. So we gave them a choice, and it's 3 different playgrounds. And then we were gonna bring them to y'all and have y'all kind of help decide what would be the type of playground that y'all would like to see. So they came with the Whimsy, which is the more modern style. The second version is the Forest, and we were looking more, and they were directed to give us more of a kind of a clubhouse nature type. And this is kind of what they kind of came up with. We were specific on directions on what we wanted. If there was a cave of any sort, it would be concrete. If there was anything that had to do with plastic on the actual playground, that kids couldn't get under it, so that it would be a hollow spot to where we might have another fire again and a accelerant of plastic burning. So we were very specific on, even if there was any plastic activity panels that are on the side, we didn't want any hollow ones because they tend to start cracking after a while in the Texas sun. And we wanted more of a composite type playboards if they were going to use those. The third version was more of just a basic normal playground like anybody would have at anywhere. And we've looked around at several different playground areas, looked at multiple different companies. We met another one today, and we kind of want to know where y'all are at on this. If y'all like just the regular basic type, or if you want to go more of like the clubhouse kind of wilderness type. Yes, sir.
I would say, Mark, I'm looking at the 3 and thinking, as a homeowner, around this, what would I like the best?
Mhm.
And option 1 and option 3, to me, would be an eyesore. Like the nature, to me, would blend in with the neighborhood.
In the background of what's already there, there's a really nice tree canopy that's on the south side of the playground. So this would kind of blend in. That's kind of what we're looking at.
And it goes along with the farmer's branch, sort of.
More of like a clubhouse type. Treehouse kind of stuff.
Step back a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Have you ever used this Cunningham Recreation?
Yes, we have. We've got several other pieces of equipment.
What
They-
was our overall impression of them in their past interaction?
In the past interaction, for several years that we've used this company, they have done a really bang up job. But in the last probably 2 years, 3 years, they've gone through a bunch of different people that work for them. Right now, I'm dealing with the president's son. When he found out, and this was what was presented, he's got another engineering and architect that's working on it. Because I told it, just pretty much, I think y'all are way off. You didn't meet anywhere that I wanted you, that we asked you to be. And he said he would get back on it. So we're seeing what his turnaround, it was supposed to be here this week. And I haven't received it yet. We waited on this almost 2 months. Rob, is that probably right? It was a while. And they're a very big company, very big, but there are others. They're probably a mid-range playground. There are some others that are a little above this, but they're a lot more expensive. So this is more about a mid-base range as far as pricing to get what you want. They also have a grant that they do, and it
That's what they're kind of wanting to utilize to try to get us more money. So if you say you spend 100,000 on the piece of playground, they match that.
So that was gonna be the next question. These three options, approximately how much money are we talking about? These three options, are they all about the same? And if so, how much money are we talking about?
Well, we're not promising anything, but kind of what our goal is what we told them, the playground piece of equipment. We would do all the prep work for the piece of equipment, and to be able to get an actual good piece of equipment, we would absorb the prep. They would come in, we would buy the playground and they would install it between 200 and 250,000. Then you have your PIP, which is your personal, or the pour in place, which is the crumb rubber. That's it. But they were going to give us a price, either crumb rubber, AstroTurf, or the regular old 5-bar wood chips, which they tend to just, each one of those fall zones has its own faults of where there's issues with either one, in either three that you use. And then the next, which was going to be separate of that, would be the shade structure. Whether it's one big shade structure or we do each individual piece, because we're looking at putting in a 2 to 5 and then a 5 to 12 playground there, each separate, because you need to keep them separately. And then looking at some ADA approved stuff so the kids that do have issues might be able to enjoy the playground as well and have access to get to it.
So forgive me, the number is for each one of these options around 250,000?
No, sir. No, sir.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get a just ballpark. I'm not trying to,
No. You're fine. You're fine.
you know, just a sense for what we're talking about.
This one here, the basic one, you're looking at probably right about $130,000. That's just a piece of equipment.
That's option one.
That's option one.
And I'm sorry.
Or excuse me, option
Three.
three.
Okay, and I'm talking just the total cost, like what would be the total cost to do this? Just ballpark, just,
Complete job,
that's
you're looking at between $400,000 and $500,000.
for each one of the three options. Each one would be, at the end of the day, around 3 to 400.
No, it depends on where you go, because this one right here would be about about 130. This one right here would run you about 190. And this one here, probably say 2. And that's just having it installed. Or buying a piece of equipment and having it installed. You know, when I first got into this stuff, you could go buy a piece of playground equipment and it was, just figure, a nice big playground equipment like the one out here that's over 20 something years old. That piece of playground equipment was about $65,000 just for the basic equipment. Then you look at about another 50 to 75% of just install price. It's there's more intricate pieces in the way in concrete that gets put into these, and then you turn around and you add in your fall zones and everything else that goes with it.
That include the shade structures, that's separate.
The shade structure would be separate.
Okay.
We're at, like I said, we're looking at doing right about between 2 to 250 for the playground with it installed. Then, I'm sorry.
With it installed.
Yes, with it installed. That's a package deal of it being installed. Now you have to put in the play surface that goes in, whether it's a pour in place rubber, AstroTurf, or 5-bar. And then if we choose to do the shade structure over it, which makes the life of the playground last a lot longer, it doesn't fade, it doesn't
Helps with maintenance.
helps it a whole lot. You don't have the rust, you don't have everything else like you would with just the bare sun hitting on it and the weather. Then you're looking at, depending on if you go with a full shade structure or you break it down to where you go with smaller shade structures over each structure. And that tends to come down a lot versus one huge, like this one out here.
And so forgive me, I'm new to the board.
Yes, sir.
In the past, did we do play service? Did we do shade structures? That's what we typically did.
In the past, probably, I would say this shade structure right here went in probably about 15 years ago. Maybe, how long has this building been open? Right at 20?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
16.
16. So this playground out here was put in at the old building. It was in the ground for about 4 to 5 years. We took it out, categorized it, and then when this building was put in about a year later, we put that playground in, and probably a year later, that's when that shade structure went in. It's been recovered twice, but that playground is a little over 20 years old.
So, 200,000.
Oh, is it?
It needs to be.
Walking by it.
Yeah.
you can't
So
tell.
recap, $250,000 installed, plus a play service, plus a shade structure, approximately how much are we talking about?
Between 400 to 500,000.
And we are gonna get some insurance proceeds back.
Yes.
And so the balance, whatever we would spend on doing replacement work, we would utilize our capital improvement funds. So, we haven't got a final on our insurance, but it'll be probably in that $150,000 to $200,000 we'll get back on the damage from our insurance carrier. So,
That's good.
so
So just feedback, I also agree with Steve. I think this one with the green, it's called the nature theme. Out of these three options, that's the one that looks best to me, just
And
initial reaction.
just, and if y'all give us the input of where y'all would like to be with that playground, if you're all agreeing with it, and y'all do like the nature clubhouse type, that would be great, because then we can narrow it down to where this is what we want, and we can put it out there for multiple playground companies to design it, and then we can come back and show y'all what what they've come up with.
So really what you want is to give you an answer on tonight is what kind of theme we want.
Yes, sir.
That's the shade and all that stuff we'll discuss later.
Yes, sir. You want modern, basic, or you want to try to go with the nature area, kind of clubhouse kind of theme?
This is the one that has the basketball court.
Yes, it is.
So where in relation to the drawing is that?
Are we flipping it?
The basketball, see here. Basketball court could be over here.
Over there?
Yes, the smaller part of, I guess you'd call it
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call it a kidney bean, but it really don't have a bend in it like that, but the bigger end is back towards where the slide is. And the smaller end is towards the front of it. So after talking with the other playground person we were with today, he kind of liked the idea, instead of, like, this one shows that you're looking at the bigger playground in the little area. Well, I like his idea that the little playground, you put it towards the front, and the bigger playground
That's
to
great.
the bigger area. But all the concrete around there will be paid for. We will end up doing that in-house, because that playground area needs to be built up so it doesn't have water run across it, because there tends to be water shed across that area. And a lot of our playground areas that were built many years ago were built in a lower area where they need to be built up, and they actually have good drains, so they're up a foot. And then redo the concrete around those areas.
Okay, for me,
Yes, ma'am.
the basic is just too generic. I could be in any city in the country and I'd like something that's a little bit more signature.
Yes, ma'am.
It's too trendy in just a little bit. It's gonna be a style, and anybody driving by is gonna know that was done in XYZ. So I'm trying to get something that's not generic, that's classic, and the idea of a clubhouse kind of thing that's also community. The idea of clubhouse is about a community getting in there. Just kind of appeals to me more than either of these other two.
Jess has put up a picture of Google, of kind of with the old playground on there. So you can kind of get an idea of where playground is in relation to this basketball court. And
Hello.
yeah, this gives you all an idea. Yeah, good. There you go. Right there.
Sorry.
Focus.
What was in that barbecue?
Yeah, I have to agree. The nature theme would fit it well.
And I mean, right now, that was more or less in the winter, when most of the trees are off, the leaves were off the trees. I was out there today, and that whole area is totally lined up green. It's really nice and shaded. So the playground is more further up this way, or more towards the road a little bit. There's a swing that's right up under the shade trees. And that area, the swing relatively is still good. What we do is take it out, take it apart, order new hardware for it, and take the swing and have it repowder coated, and then reinstall it to try to save some money on this project. The basketball court, eventually we need to have it redone, because it has settled and broke, and it's got a crack in it. That's where probably a quarter of it's starting to fall in or dip down. Good Texas soil that we have. And that, I don't know, I wasn't here when that was built, so I'm not sure if it actually had grade beams in it and built the way and poured the way it should have. Most of the ones we've put in since, or when I started here, they have all, been tension cable. And, we haven't had issues with those. They actually float right there on the soil, so.
Like the clubhouse.
Okay. Well, we have our directive in marching order. I appreciate y'all's opinion and, that helps out a lot.
So
So
do you guys want to take table this and we bring back a final and then you can take action at that point now that we have a
Yeah.
little direction? Okay.
I think there's feel some discussion,
Okay.
like on the shade and some of that. stuff.
Okay. So I think you need a motion to table.
I mean, I hear a
So we have more and better information.
Okay, Barbara, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Okay, next, last
Shade
is to
structure.
receive aquatic second quarter report.
Auditor. Athletics and athletics first.
It's recreation, athletic.
Is recreation athletics first? And what?
Oh, yeah. Mark off 1, 2 quick. Receive recreation.
some of the ones.
Receive, yeah, recreation and athletics second quarter report.
All right, everyone. So my name is Ashley Munoz. I am the recreation manager here. I don't think I've had the pleasure to meet everybody since my first park board meeting. So I did 8 years with aquatics. I did 1 year with Branch Connection, and then I've been here the last 3 months. So not new person. So I'm going to be presenting Q2 reports for adults. So we'll go ahead and get started. So our Q2 revenue increased by 8% to just under 407,000 for this quarter. Staff contributes that to increased membership costs that started in January, and also the Branch Connection being closed that just started in January. Moving on to membership revenue, so we have 3,276 active memberships right now, totaling to 439,682 in revenue for this last, which is a 29% increase from the last quarter. And again, we're contributing to the increase in membership costs in January, and then the Branch Connection being closed. We have a lot of their members coming here as far as silver seekers, new active, and sort of. Moving on to program revenue, we've had a slight increase in program revenue, just under 72,000. And we contribute that to it's a new year, a lot of Black Fitness schools, new fitness schools. So we had a little bit of new faces for us. Moving on to rental and park user fees. So we did see a 40% decrease in this. We were at $142,681 for this quarter. We do contribute that to some of our leagues went down from renting 4 fields to 2 versus last year. And then we also didn't have a few softball leagues to participate this spring. And our youth revenue is about under 32,000 for this quarter. We do expect it to go up. I'm sorry, that was for Q2. We do expect it for Q3 to go up just because we had a lot of last minute registrations for summer sunshine, so that's where we see a lot of this revenue come in. So the next Q3 we'll see an increase in that. State pass revenue was up 17% for this quarter. That's attributed to, again, an increase from $7 to residents to $15 to non-residents for gate passes. Just to let you know, there will be a slight decrease in the next quarter just because we were closed for a month to get the bleachers removed and finished. So that will show the next quarter. Events and miscellaneous revenue. So we are at about 9,387 for this quarter. Again, we do expect it to go up just because team leadership program is in this part of the category. And so again, we had a lot of last minute registrations, and they register by the week, so you'll see a lot of the increase in this. Our overall expenses did decrease by 26%. Our strategy of just cutting spending and just utilizing things that we already have is still working for us in this quarter. And but for the next quarter, for quarter three, we'll see an increase in staffing costs just because we were staffing employees starting to make our shifts. You'll see a big increase there. And then our overall summary for cost recovery, we're at 150% for this quarter. You'll see at the bottom, we're at overall revenue was just under 407,000, and then our total expenses for that quarter were just under 308,000. Our NPS for this quarter was 76. It is a little bit lower than we're used to. We still have a lot of residents, engagements, non-residents. I'm still adjusting to the price increase that hit everybody starting in January. So we're still experiencing some of that. We are back up for this quarter. We're about 81, 82 right now for this current quarter.
Thank you, Ashley. This is very good. Now, I do have a couple of questions. First of all, part about membership revenue, when you said there's 3,276 active memberships, and there's a 29% increase in revenue, which is fantastic. Just curious, what about the numbers of active memberships? In other words, the units, if you will, did that go up? Did it go down? Help me understand what's going on with that number. 3,276, is that, so in other words, revenue went up 29%, that's fantastic. The question is, what about the number of memberships? What's going on with that number? Is it going up, down?
It is going up, yes. Because we've had a lot of, and people are just new years, new goals, right? But then we also, the branch connection had a heavy impact on us as well. So all of their members, their programs were mostly here. So all of the silver sneakers, were new active, silver and fit, all the memberships.
Okay, another question. You said the soccer leagues went from 4 fields to 2. My kids actually used to play at the soccer field. They were part of Dallas, Texas, and they rented that field. I'm just curious, why would they go from 4 to 2? Because it seems like it was so hard to ever find a soccer field.
That's my athletic supervisor before coming in here. And so they're also, some of the leagues are also just struggling financially right now. And so they went down from 4 to 2 fields. So
Okay.
that's what we were told.
The next question is, once again, on expenses, cutting by 26%. That's fantastic. But I think I heard you said that you should, instead of getting really excited about that, in the next quarter, it's going to go back up. So it may not. 26%. My question would be, how do you do that? That's an amazing. You got to cut expenses that much.
Right. So we're watching our numbers staffing wise, cutting where we need to. If we don't, if it's a little bit slower during the day, we send people home. And then utilizing things for like summer sunshine, we utilize a lot of things from holiday graces that are rolling over. And then likewise, like at the end of the year, summer sunshine supplies from the summer reviews from the fall.
But you will see that number spike. So normally we order supplies earlier in the year. This year, however, the team ordered their supplies more towards the summer, just because we were watching registrations and a lot of kids did register late. So we don't want to buy too many supplies if we don't have enough kids registered. So they kind of waited until the program was going to get going and we could see like a really good head count of how many kids we were going to be providing for this summer. So you'll see those numbers start to go up. But we do also have a lot of, like what Ashley was saying, we use a lot of old supplies as well from the previous summers.
Okay, next question. And I want to thank you for calling me because you and I talked. So can you share with the board what's going on with the TVs in the gym out here and also the gym upstairs? The TVs that are the external TVs. If you just share it so everybody's aware. I'm not asking you to change it, just so everybody's aware what you had to do.
Yes, sir. Do you mind if we go through this first and then
Oh, okay.
that? I think you had a few questions.
Okay.
And we have a recreation center update in the agenda, and so we can get to that if you'd like.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that then. Okay, thank you.
So I've got a couple of questions. So first, not know, do you see the price of your chemicals are still going up?
The price for what?
Price of for your chemicals?
I think that
You can't wait to get the pool part. So bad you can't stand it.
Well, the other question on your, delay that, on your expenses going down, was that due to mostly to head count?
The head count of staffing.
Yeah, is it lower staffing? You say 26%.
But Jessica might be able to answer this.
So it went due. So we basically we purchased items. A lot of our supplies later like more towards the summer versus in the spring
So
that we
this-
normally, yeah. So those when she comes back, it's not that they're overspending, they just purchase them at a different time of the year. So with the charts looking the way it's set up and we purchased later, it's showing that we have a cost savings right now. But-
Cost increase later. Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
Cost deferred.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of similar to when these guys utilize, how we use fuel, like in parks. It's very stable. Then once we get in the growing season, and water's the same way, it goes up as the growing season. So you might go, wow, you guys haven't spent any money in water or fuel, but wait till everything starts growing and then we're gonna spend it all. So it's very similar to here. Once summer kicks in, we're spending more, so.
It's your turn.
You briefly said Joy, think about staffing there. The last 3 or 4 times I've driven by, with park, really good, nobody there.
Sure.
We're not still staffing.
That for this quarter that we're currently in, they will get in expenses because we staff with. We aren't currently staffing anymore. But we started staffing spring break. We staffed all of spring break between 4 divisions, heavily our division, because we have no more staff to afford up there. And then we did Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I was just kind of pressing for 43 that you will see a spike, and that isn't part of it.
So we're not staffing up.
We are not.
Okay. And this might be for Mark more, so, I mean, all of the plans and things that we were thinking about doing at Joya, is that still, like the fence and?
Yes, sir.
everything?
Fence, we've got a design going that deals with the fence and we've got to get several quotes on it. And due to the fact that it goes over, it's probably gonna go over $50,000. It has to go to council. So we will go out for official bid on it. If we're able to keep it below, then we can go ahead and go with it. There's security lights there's security lights that have got to be installed. They're back ordered, waiting on them to come in. There's cameras, and then there also has to be a network cable put in that ties into the city's network.
Yes,
And that's very pricey to try to tie it all in when you get to all that. We just put in some bollards that block the parking spaces in the front of it and still left the handicap spaces open. We still have some issues here and there that we're working out, but it's steadily moving along fine.
We got an update on Hoya too, right?
I think we have one with our project updates. We can talk more about.
Barbara?
You day passes. Is the price increase affected the number of day passes?
Not that I noticed. So we're still pretty steady. Just in April, this was the increase. Wasn't a lot of our pastors are basketball players, but no, we're still seeing.
You're still seeing about the same level.
We're trying to convert them to memberships, but we hit 1 or 2 people. But
It
it
also tells me the day pass price is still.
Yeah.
So we're still sitting steady for that. Then.
Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the next one is C5, receive aquatic second quarter report.
I'm Haley. I am the assistant manager with the Aquatic Center. I'm gonna get really good at doing quarterly reports. So I think this is my second or third one. So I'm hoping to be concise this time. So in Paul's step, I'm gonna present to you guys October to March report. So our first half of the year brought in $100,201. This is off the bat a 5% decrease from the previous fiscal year, so the previous 3 quarters. There do seem to be some pretty significant areas that highlight where that decrease comes from, which I'll get to. Primarily, the big one is going to be our staff certification. I think I mentioned last time that we had a really big overhaul from American Red Cross and getting everyone recertified. Takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and we are a very little pool. So It does require a lot of our internal staffing, which we're incredibly fortunate to have, but our internal staffing is a factor as well to our overall. But another big one is gonna be the overall age of our pool, but I'll get into that second. We did have an increase in daily attendance, and we had a very big increase in our silver programs, the partnership with our healthcare providers, so Silver and Fit, Renew Active, Silver Speakers. I do attribute that, or we attribute that to the branch connection being closed. So we hosted some of the programs from the branch connection in our party room, which there were a few growing pains with that, but I think it ended up being really positive. We're hopeful to have them again in the fall, maybe even having more things with us. Our party room is not utilized in the middle of the day, which is a great time to provide some space for the branch connection. It's not a wonderful room for a lot of things, but for bingo, I think it'll do. So hopefully we have that. But we did see a 27% increase from the previous year. I love bingo, so I'm thrilled to have that. But we did, yeah, so we saw a 27% increase in our silver programs, the memberships. And that I think is absolutely a representation of us getting foot traffic from the branch connection, which transferred into them utilizing our facility and becoming staples with us now. Let's see. So for the previous year, we are up 9% in membership sales as a whole. And the 27% increase was specifically for the silver programs, which are our partnerships with the health members, health plans. We partner with health programs. I'm sorry, I know that's not a very good description, but so for our programs, which is our biggest source of revenue, generally speaking, we had a decrease in that area. We had an increase in our fitness classes. So for our fitness classes, we saw an increase of 7% from the previous fiscal year in this time frame, but we saw a decrease in our swim lesson programs because we instituted a streamlined system to get everyone in the right levels. It's very difficult to teach someone who is afraid of water and doesn't have a lot of water competency, or still with someone who we're trying to get the breaststroke timing down. They're two very different needs and desires and wants. And for our teachers, hopefully streamlining this skills assessment that we have is eventually going to lead to all the classes being full of life-skilled students, which already we have seen is making them make progress really fast. So they're becoming more competent and eventually they will outgrow it. And that's a good thing. We want that. We don't want them to go back to learn how to swim. We want them to go first. Let's see. This also helps in registration for the members and non-members, residents and non-residents, just because they have to essentially have a prerequisite to get into specific classes. So it was a decrease, but we anticipate it will start going back up. This was just kind of a barrier that we put in place. But more importantly, this barrier provided us an opportunity to educate people. So we're seeing a lot of engagement with not only the Learn to Swim staff and the lifeguards, but front desk too. Like everyone in the facility is becoming better. I said I'd be more precise and quick, but I'm not really doing that. Our rental, so for this coming summer season, we implemented in the second quarter party time towel, which get given to the guests of honor when you do party packages, which is part of our rental process. And that has been a nice thing that people really appreciate. And I think it's a small touch like that for Farmers Branch that make people want to come back. We have a lot of repeat party goers, or my friend had a party last week and I want to party this weekend. So there's a lot of word of mouth. Okay, two big areas that contributed to overall revenue for us and a decrease of revenue will be that we're going to be 10 next spring. So we're aging. We have a comprehensive life cycle plan, so we kind of anticipate what things we will need to do ahead of time. I made a note, I think this is a good explanation. As the facility ages and we encounter more day-to-day problems that we have to remedy and rectify quickly with the public, it means we have to have more staff to do those things. So as we age and our facility's ability to maintain itself decreases, we have to supplement with staff physically maintaining those components, which I guess is not a great explanation. But when we have certain systems that are not capable of regulating the brain body of water, we have to have staff who are manually dosing it or manually closing it or manually checking it. And so that to me is an interesting factor that maybe isn't thought about when you think of the age of the pool. Yes.
But they have, can't you get better equipment that does that for you?
Yes, we could.
Now you have upfront costs, but over the time.
Yes, and that's why I wrote it down, because I think that is an interesting, I haven't done the math to see, well, so we use a system called a Vexus. It is industry standard, every pool I've been at has a Vexus. Ours is, I lovingly say, the dumbest version, and it is. It won't even tell me what the chlorine is. It gives me certain numbers, and what it does is it forces us to be able to really know our pool, and we do, but it does require a lot of staff and maintenance to facilitate this body of water, which is very volatile in some ways and very up and down. It's not super consistent, but that's just a note that I made because I think that is something to consider is that yes, there are newer systems that would essentially do everything for you, but they're incredibly cost prohibitive.
For people, yeah.
They're very expensive. So we're making it go again, and we have very skilled people to do it, but it is a factor in our staffing this week. So the other thing is that we had to replace some of the we had to install new covers for our frame system to comply with the Virginia Graham Baker Act. If you guys, I hope didn't hear, but the incident that happened, I think in San Antonio and the Lazy River, we don't want to have anything like that. So we're making sure that we're up to compliance on everything at all times, not taking any risks and anticipating any problems. But
A question?
Yes.
That was my question. What does VGB stand for? I think you just said Virginia Graham. Baker.
Virginia Graham Baker
Yeah,
Act.
and I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Everybody else probably knows what that is, but would you mind explaining?
You didn't know that, David?
I-
I was
Put you on full page.
people to know what that is. And I'd love to tell you so you don't have to
Comfort
look it up yourself, because it is horribly tragic. Virginia Graham Baker, the act the same doctor, the young girl who passed away by being stuck to a drain at the bottom of the pool.
Oh, my goodness.
And that is the nice fact.
So going up to the sentence right above that, UV unit, what is a UV
A
unit?
UV unit is secondary sanitation for the water. For some features, such as our activity pool, where they have the little spray things, that is required. We anticipate people might put their buns here, so you have to have UV as a secondary sanitation. We have redundant sanitation factors. So that our UV system keeps our pool. Yes, and not only does it keep it clean, it's required for one of our pools. So if the UV goes down for our activity pool, we can't open it. Yeah, I'm sorry, that was a good question. I'll make a little key next time. All that aquatics vernacular. Yeah, understood better. Yes, our expenses did increase by 17% from the previous fiscal year, and it is attributed to our facility maintenance, janitorial factors. I would say because we have had a change in the aquatic division itself, the expenses have gone up. Someone asked about chemicals earlier, right?
Yeah, Bob.
I was just curious whether chemicals are still going up in price.
Mhm, they are, and it is an interesting puzzle for us, because at times we're trying to really utilize the chemicals we have and make them last a really long time. And there are times where we have to manually dose instead of using what we would like to, just because it's not just a matter of the chemical. So I know for us, we just got a shipment of reagents to test the chemical water today. It should have been here on Monday. And thank goodness we anticipated that we're gonna run out with a system for that, but, so it's not just a matter of the price, it's also hard to find right now. And so luckily, we're a bit smaller than some of the other pools locally in DFW. So I think that is an advantage to us, because it allows us to anticipate and order ahead of time, knowing it's not gonna be here next week, so we need to order it 3 weeks ago. So, yes, unfortunately, it is going up, and it's becoming hard to find some of ours. Cost recovery, our cost recovery is at 20% of the first half of this year. And then the two biggest driving factors are going to be our memberships and then our program. And then we have a very small portion in comparison to those two. Memberships makes up 52% for cost recovery or accounting for it. And then our programs are the other main driver. Our day passes and like our merchandise sales, those are only accounted for like 8%. And then our net purchase score is 92 on average for the first.
I don't have a question. I've just got two comments. My wife uses the aquatic center and everything quite frequently. And she was very complimentary of staff. Been a few weeks or a month or so ago, had some air conditioning issues. The pool was extremely hot. And she was very complimentary of how the staff handled that. And, you know, when it gets hot, it's easy for everybody to complain. They weren't, they were very, very proactive and everything. They did that great. And then the other compliment I would like to give you is the new idea with the lazy river, having an early morning walk around it backwards with it. She's been over to try that out and loves it. All her friends come join her. So come up with new ideas on how to utilize our resources. I think it's popular to you and our staff.
And that's a wonderful example of that our lazy river in the morning doesn't require a lot of staffing either. So if it's a service that can be utilized by a lot of people, but doesn't require a lot of cost to provide, then that seems like a slam dunk. So it's very hard to determine. I'm curious to see what the next quarter says, because the summer started off not as anticipated, with no power for 3 days, and the weather is just on against us for some reason. But so I'm happy to hear, and I'm happy to hear about the AC.
It's challenging.
Incredibly grateful for, I think it's called a swamp fan. Swamp fan, and bless, thank you. So, and that will be hopefully rectified at 80% fixed, and might as well be 120% fixed because it's just better. But thank you very much. I'll pass that along to us.
Any more questions?
What does the towel look like?
Oh, so they say party time. So they're just bright aqua blue towels. And so we kind of went back and forth between the towels on average are $5. Our party packages include 20 admissions. So many people go well beyond 20. So kind of offsetting that, we're thinking we're going to drive a lot of people in. Instead of making it a birthday towel, because I can only be used on your birthday, party time all the time. So yeah, it's just a little party design with a little hat, a little confetti.
It's very cute. We had my daughter's birthday party there a few weeks ago, and she loved it. It's a simple house.
And we have radio ads going on as well to wish people happy birthday. And that's been well received by people, and a good challenge for us to kind of like keep on top of those things. So we're also trying to find our group as far as time management, but also anticipating the influx of things on certain days is exciting.
Anything else? All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to C6, receive special event second quarterly report.
All right, that will be me, Jessica Alvarado, presenting on behalf of the community events team. I normally would stand up here, but I don't have my forms with me. I left it on my desk. So I'm going to use my laptop here. Second quarter report covers January, February, and March. This was a designated time for special events team to plan for the upcoming year. We have some general things that went on, ongoing discussions with the health department and fire department to review their new policies and procedures for securing concessions and food trucks. That seems to be going along pretty well. Jocelyn and her team has actually booked 2 or 3 new vendors that will be participating in our Independence Day celebration. So that's great, working alongside Elizabeth Arts, our health manager. We've booked musical entertainment for a lot of our annual events. We did have our June Denton Drive Live that got canceled. However, we still have one more Denton Drive Live, and then they are working on Bluegrass on the grassroots stage, and then Halloween in the Park as well. And as you guys all know, Independence Day with Empire 6 had been booked as well. Let's see. We hired a new part-timer, Liliana Almanza. She was working at the Branch Connection. She now works with the special events team, and will soon move on somewhere else. Let's see. We made a presentation on February 6th, updating the council on the progress of the new multicultural event, Gateway to the Globe. I did that. It was a really well put together. There was a really well put together video that I presented to the council. They really received it well, so well that they were like, "Do you need more money? Make this bigger." And so the team is working on those logistics on, what went well and what we could maximize to make this event even bigger than it was. We've consolidated a couple of different Facebook groups, Facebook pages. So Denton Drive Live, Christmas in the Branch, onto one single page. So you might have seen it where it says like special events in Farmers Branch. That is the city's kind of all for events. And so you'll see different postings, even if it's Pancakes and Pajamas that the Rec Center hosts. We'll try and always start the group there and start the communications there. So that way the residents have one direct access to go to, and they don't have to constantly look for different pages. Longtime special events, sponsorship and marketing coordinator, events assistant manager, and events manager all left their positions between this time frame. We've made a few changes to the different job descriptions, and that's where you've seen Jocelyn come in and Stephanie come in. So it used to be an events team of 3. It is now an events team of 2. 2 powerful teammates to the team. So they'll continue to put on these great events that we host in Farmers Branch. Hoya Park. We did a grand opening January 20th. In addition, we helped facilitate the soft opening. The special events team did, and assisted with playground staffing during initial peak hours. As we mentioned earlier, that has phased out, and so we no longer staff. Independence Day, we confirmed with the firework vendor an additional agreement, consolidated their stage, sound, and light vendor to be split between 2 vendors. We have Bloom and Bluegrass that we are currently working on to secure. Jocelyn and Alan Tompkins have recently secured all of the main stage and the grassroots performers, and so those bands will be announced soon. Jocelyn's been working with our ticketing company to get those tickets that will be coming online July 8th for purchase. We've expanded the number of VIP cabanas from 4 to 10. Those cabanas are hot sale. They also so you get a white tent, you get some lawn chairs, and then you also get dinner Friday, lunch Saturday, and dinner on Saturday as well, with lots of cold refreshments. So it's the VIP tents are a big hit.
How much is a VIP? Just curious how much did that cost?
They cost, Jocelyn,
So we're gonna up the prices we haven't been. So
Okay.
we're looking about, so the VIP tents for independent are 200, we're looking about 300. All inclusive.
yes. Let's see. Didn't Drive Live, we are looking at, we're actually doing away with the name Didn't Drive Live, and we're calling it Meadow Nights. And so when Jocelyn and Rachel, our marketing manager, were coming up with different names of what could we call it, what could we call it? And so we wanted to keep that meadow aspect, especially with the venue being faced to the meadow and showing the meadow. And we also wanted to incorporate the park into the name. And so both Jocelyn and Rachel came up with the name Meadow Nights. And so you'll begin to see that publicized for 2025 versus Denton Drive Live. So it's the same concept, the same funding source, the same team putting it on. It's just going to be a different name.
Rebranded from the new location.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got Christmas in the Branch going on. I know there were discussions. We were looking at possibly doing it over at City Hall. We are going to have the big Christmas tree at City Hall, but we're going to keep the Christmas event at the historical park. Just for logistics, from a logistics standpoint, it just makes more sense just to keep it there. We do plan on, Jocelyn and her team have been working with the ice skating rink. If we don't bring that back in some capacity in the construction mixture, they've also been working with a couple of those sheets of ice vendors. We're gonna have some type of ice skating. So I don't know at what capacity and what the length of time is that it'll be open to the residents, but that is something that we have heard, that the residents want to have that sense of how Christmas used to run. So Jocelyn and her team do plan on bringing that back at some capacity. Gateway to the Globe, I mentioned that. So the multicultural task force, it did phase out and it ended its term. So now it'll just be on the team, and then we'll continue to get community input, y'all's input, as far as once we start on planning. We're just getting through Independence Day, Blooming Bluegrass, and Halloween in the park. So then we'll hit the ground running with that. In conclusion, the events team continues to identify and implement best practices, cost-saving measures, programming ideas, and strategies, and new sponsorship opportunities. Jocelyn's working on a new sponsorship for Independence Day to come on out. So we've got different revenue streams that we plan on kind of incorporating. And what we did, Jocelyn and I, when we were a team here at the Rec Center with Halloween in the Park, which is another large scale event and sponsorships. One year we brought in like 7,000 in sponsorships just on our own. So I can't wait to see all the great things and sponsorships that Jocelyn and her team bring. And that's all. Do you have any questions for events?
Questions, comments? Anybody? All right, thank you. Move on to C7, the Parks and Recreation Department project update.
Can you put that on the screen?
Yep. Maybe.
I'll just give you guys all a kind of a brief rundown on some of the projects. Some of these we talked about already. Let us bring that up.
Yeah.
Well, let's start going through it. So the first one we have is Dutch Village, and I know Mark hit on that. Basically, we're in the process of looking at choosing the playground and kind of gearing up. We have, I think, pretty much finalized everything with their insurance carrier. So that's good. So we'll keep that train moving. We'll bring back some designs at the next meeting. John Burke, we give you a few updates on this. So still waiting on doing the septic. So the restroom is still not open yet. I think we'll finally start drying out, which I think has been the big issue. We keep saying that, but I think the last couple of months with all the rain, but now that we're getting into summer, I'm hoping we'll dry enough to where guys can get in there and get that done. But we have had issues from the last big storm, the overlook that looks out onto the Trinity. We have had some erosion at the base or where the overlook is located. And so we've had to close the overlook. We worked with the design team that put that project together and their engineer had some options to try to see how we can fix that. So until we get some resolution on that, we have also filed a claim with our insurance, to see if we can get, some funds back for that, because we're probably pretty quickly gonna have to get at least the end of the overlook removed and do something to shore up that, keep the erosion from happening on the shore, on the banks of the river. And with the amount of water that had pushed through with all the rain, it's the way that river kind of hits that area where the overlook is. It's done some damage. So, and that, you can kind of see that on the next page. We've got a few shots in there of some of that damage. Yeah, you can see how a lot of the piers for some of the base kind of been undermined. So, this is, staff was quick to get out there and get it closed so we don't get anyone hurt. And, but we're working through trying to get some of that.
We had to redo that initial construction because there was problems. Maybe somebody ought to give up on that.
Yeah, we're gonna look at probably moving. We don't want to fight Mother Nature
Yeah.
in regards to the shore, the banks, so probably gonna move the overlook back, where it's not so. And then what an engineer has told us is we probably need to look at reestablishing some kind of plant material along that area so it'll hold better, hold up better against some of that water that's coming through there.
We'll
So
make it like a zip line anchor.
yeah. Luckily, there's a lot more to enjoy out there, so it's not like it's a huge issue. We don't have to close the park or anything, so people can still walk the trail and things out there. So, but we just wanted to keep all of you let you know what's going on. So if you're out there and you're like, what's going on with why we closed that? That's the reason. Hoya, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Mark and his team have kept up with all the different changes going on at Hoya. We still have a weekly meeting with Hoya and Compan, the vendor. We are gonna look at, doing some work to the zip line. Mark, I don't know if you have any updates on the zip
It's
line.
supposed to start next week.
Next week. So we're gonna look at replacing that zip line with another system that they've come up with that will hopefully hold up a little bit better than the one that was in there initially. They're gonna have to remove the surfacing. We'll have to block off the area. And how long? 2 to 3 weeks?
They're looking at about a week to get it done and now.
Run faster.
Going to call this the PIP out. Fencing it off here and then fencing it around there. Just incorporating with the fence that's already there right now. So what is gonna end up doing is this mound here, they're building another mound up here. So from everything that they've done on the engineering side of it, they didn't take into consideration the fall of the land with how it all is, and so it has too much steepness to it. So what they're gonna do is build the mound up so it levels it out a whole lot more. So it's not as steep and it doesn't run as fast as what it's supposed to do. So you have a landing, and most of the playground companies that do put those in, they have a stand-on landing and a landing to exit when you get to the other end, a platform. So it'd just be a concrete mound.
Making it still fun for kids.
Still
for
fun, yeah. Pretty.
Next week and it'll be a couple of weeks.
They're supposed to start next week. It should take a week. They're saying a week to do it. And then they've got some other repairs that they need to make on there where it didn't pass some pressure tests. So the plate, when they're gonna do all the hard stuff, and then when they get ready to do the PIP, we will shut the playground itself down because there's an area that does not pass a fall test. So they're gonna have to cut that out and redo it. And it takes about 48 to 72 hours for the pour in place to dry correctly. So we want to make sure that no kids get hurt and if they need to take care of it.
Or falls.
I'm sorry.
Kids get hurt or adults.
Or adults. You
Yes.
got that right.
Yes. Yes.
So that should leave Hoya open over the 4th.
That is what I told them. I said, you can do all the construction you want outside of it. And they said, well, we're gonna do it on, I said, you need to schedule it after the fourth week. I want it to stay open during the fourth and for the fourth weekend. If we get ready to do it, then we'll close it down the week after the holiday
That
weekend.
makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
And other than the fourth, it has slowed down a lot because of the heat. And that's one of the reasons we've stopped the staffing as well, just because the numbers have been lower. So, this is probably a good time of year to do it, so. Any other questions on Hoya? The next one is venue 1842. We still are working through soft opening. I don't know if you all know, but we did have, we've had a few events, few paid events, and we had the seniors mixer event on Monday, went really well. We had a few challenges, and that's kind of the idea of not booking it to full tilt yet. We're still working through the the paid events we've had are kind of definitely had some operational issues with each of those. The plan is to hopefully utilize most of the summer for getting the punch list in the building pretty much completed. And as we get into fall, we'll start to fully book it once we've got landscape in the building there's still things on the building that need to get completed and things like that. So when you see, if you guys are out for the fourth, we probably won't have gotten much further on the landscaping outside. So we'll kind of have some of that area blocked off still. And then, like I said, there'll still be some exterior, but for you all to go through and have a place to kind of cool off, we'll still be able to utilize the interior spaces. So.
And the irrigation crew did start this weekend playing.
So Mark just said irrigation has started out there, so, good. Any other questions on venue? Yes, sir.
Not just venue, but with the storm we had, all the trees knocked down and everything. Did that affect anything around the venue or historical park or any of our other?
It affected everywhere. 3 weeks of cleanup and we're still, sanitation or sustainability is still picking up brush.
Yeah.
This week, they just started on Tuesday's route. So,
Okay. Can I make
Mine
a
got
comment
picked
on that? Going back to the nature preserve, because I go there every Saturday. I want to compliment whoever did this because, so I go there every Saturday. So the storm came in on Tuesday morning. And that Saturday I was out there and then part of the walkway had actually washed out.
yes, sir.
And then I came back the next Saturday, it was completely repaired.
Yes, sir.
Which is very impressive. Because I thought, man, look at it, we got so much rain, I don't know, washed out. Then I also got a kick, I was thinking about it too, when I saw the two signs. I don't know exactly what it says, but watch out for the snakes and watch out.
Venomous snakes could be in the area.
The
Yes.
insects. Yeah, something like, wow, there you go.
And you still went on your walk.
Yeah.
No mistakes. Good.
So I did not go up.
Go on the envelope.
That's pretty clear. So
That one gave you a little bit.
There's something going on with it. Now I know what it is, but I said, do not walk out on that thing. So.
We actually had one tree very close to going on the new building. It was a tree from the right of way on Ford Road, falling over the fence. Fence is damaged. But the camera, it was basically inches from the exterior camera we had. And that really close to the building. So luckily we were able to get it off, just damaged the fence. We still got some fence to do. We did have another large tree right in the middle of the historical park go down over the storage area. And it was near the gazebo. It almost went on the gazebo. So we had very close calls on a couple of trees there, but they missed anything of significance. So, but we did have, the guys were out there probably after the storm, at least a week and a half cleaning up those trees. Yeah. So.
They got me this week.
Shane lost the tree.
Must have been on this area.
Any other questions on venue? We're going to go on. Branch Connection is moving along. I'll just give everybody the brief update. We actually had a meeting today. We did have to rebid out the phase 2. As you all know, the bond did pass and the bids came back. Bids are a little higher on this second phase, but we're working through. And we'll probably have something ready to go to council on approving a contract. Probably like to see if we could do something in the July meeting. If not, it'd be the first August meeting. Move that forward. So, but as you can see, some of the pictures, the current phase 1 is moving right along. It's on schedule. So our hope is that the bidder is the current contractor. So we're hoping that'll help expedite and keep things moving. So.
Well, I would just like to comment to Jessica and her staff and everybody involved. Because I was concerned about parking here and how all the activities for Branch Connection is gonna be offloaded, and everybody's done a fabulous job. I know they're now using a church by City Hall, to do stuff, to make the summer sunshines. The coordination that went into all that has been tremendous. And, as a user of the rec center, I have hardly noticed anything, so y'all done a super job.
Thank you. The team effort.
And I will say the pastor at, First Baptist Farmers Branch has just been awesome about working with us, and he's really been excited about seniors working in that, utilizing that facility. It's really, his parishioners really like it as well, and it's able to kind of show off the facility. We had the monthly breakfast there a couple weeks ago, and we had a full capacity. It was like 50 people, which is, it filled up the entire, I guess, food area or the cafeteria that they had over there. So I'm really appreciative. And then we'll move back here
August 12th.
August 12th after Summer Funshine finishes. Then we'll utilize the rec center again, and
Even though a lot of those branch connectioners love it.
they like this.
They
like
love the
that
church.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Any other
Just say-
questions on Branch Connection?
I'd just say the venue, the mixer Monday night was nice to dance.
Not that you went.
I did.
He did. Okay, we'll go on. Mercer Park is the next one. I've got a few shots of the current trail there. And you can see that's basically all we have out there right now. We're still working with the developer on finishing their items. We're getting to the end of the project where we might look at amending the current development agreement to expedite the project and kind of get the developer out of the picture and let us finish it. So we're still working through that. So I don't have an estimate on when we'll have all our pieces done, but we're trying to get and the developer's anxious to move on as well, because they want to start building townhomes. But they can't build townhomes until we get our park done. So we'll keep on them on that. So. And then we just left, no changes on Square yet. So I will let me let the board know, because we've had some changes. We are looking at a new position in parks. We'd like to have a park planner on board. It's a position that would look a lot at I'd like a landscape architect that can be on staff that we can really utilize for all these park projects and medians and different things like that, and have a little more technical background. And it really would help Mark and I and Jessica on trying to get through some of these big projects. So we've got, hopefully we'll get the position open next week and get somebody hired. We'll have them probably back to one of these meetings to let you all meet that person, whoever that ends up being. So hopefully we'll have some good luck finding somebody. So, and I'll let them do the project updates. So anyway, so.
That's like,
Yeah, we're to the point where, and talking to Mark, there used to be one on staff 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. And they weren't working in engineering, but, and the way I compare it is, we have, I think, 3 engineers on staff now, for the city. There's a city engineer who's also deputy director. There's a staff engineer, and I think they have another part-time engineer, but then they also have consultants. So we kind of do the same thing. So we have professional engineers, PEs on staff to help guide these projects. And that's kind of what our thought process is for these park projects, having that technical expertise to kind of guide us through some of that and be able to talk to language consultants that speak and stuff. So we'll keep you posted. That's all I got.
Any other questions for him?
and the listings up, will you share it with us? We can promote it.
Sure.
Promote it.
Yep.
I'm in the engineering
Oh.
consulting world. So
Okay,
I can
awesome.
Share it on my LinkedIn page.
Perfect. We will do that.
Okay, let's move on to C8, receive park division update. Who has that?
Mark.
Mark, you have Parks Division? Oh,
Sorry.
Oh, you turned all of it into the next page.
reverse it. Hold
You
on.
can turn certain pages.
Oh my gosh.
Let's do one more clockwise.
What was that question? I'm sorry.
Do you have any Parks Division update?
We're finally getting caught back up with the, all the weather. It's finally slowed down as far as all the brush getting off the medians in the parks. We still have some branches down here and there that we're still taking care of, but after about 2.5 weeks of having to ignore everything else in the process, we're finally being able to get back in the roads, pull median, the weeds in the medians, trim bushes, and continue doing what we do every day. Alice, can I answer any questions on that?
Any questions, comments?
I don't know if it's here or later on, but egret at City Hall, who is that?
What would you like to know?
Steps taken to prevent it this year, and it didn't happen, and it's.
Yes, ma'am, we.
It was last year.
Oh, it is. And we spent quite a bit of money doing what they asked to do. And we put balloons in, we put the beep, beep, a whole lot of stuff, and it did not work.
And tree work, a lot of tree work.
That's the
Yeah.
expensive part, was the tree work that we thinned out the canopies for what they required. Oh, you're not kidding. They love that Asian jasmine that,
Yeah.
and take it all up in the tree. And then, oh my goodness, we have
Make a map.
had heck with it. We've put up the silt fence to try to corral them to at least be humane so they don't go in the road, but they seem to make it in the road.
It's like the entrance to the Baptist church.
It's horrible.
My husband can't walk the dogs through there because walking the dogs through 2 blocks of feces.
The pasture there, he
Scent.
got on the same bandwagon with us and thin the trees out. You do like about 20% of the canopy. And, you're messing with those old oak trees there, and it's sad that you have to do it, but it didn't do any good. We started putting the owl balloons up in there, and as they were putting the balloons in the trees, they were flying in. And it's these silver owl balloons that are supposed to be there, flop around, mirrored. They laughed at them and just kept on going. So once one of them lays an egg, one egg, you're done.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, we got a place to come. And that's where, and they're overloaded us. It's horrible.
I know, goofy thing I saw that. And I saw it last year that allegedly works, are those stupid floppy fan people that they put in front of,
We have
car
one.
places. At the times where, for the 2 weeks that they're migrating and establishing.
That might be a good idea. We'll mount them on top of a tree.
We have one.
The
We have
balloons didn't
one.
work. It's
Yeah.
something.
Well, because movement seems to do it.
Well,
'Cause
we-
We had
Yes.
some that kept trying to come into our
This
backyard. We
may
just
not
opened
work,
the sliding glass door and they get freaked out.
We put spinners on it.
Because you're gonna
They're
inhale. some of
silver
it, just
spinners.
slip off
Yes.
it.
just spinning around because the owls never did work.
Yeah.
either.
What we did notice by thinning up our tree canopy is it pushed them to other
Other trees.
around. And once they really didn't matter, they still came back to where we trimmed the trees where they weren't supposed to. They're looking at trying to do something different. We've been working, as community service, animal control, parks department, we've all been kind of,
Yeah.
and then they've been trying to get money in the budget to do it. We took a brunt of the cost with the tree trimming stuff. And, it just, we're at a loss ourselves.
The storm blew in and animal control had to go out there after that storm. They said they picked up 200-300 birds up there after the storm. So it thinned out quite a few, and you still see what's out there today. So I can't,
The hedge
yeah.
on our side
So,
is just
and then
nice.
I know Streets was out there twice this week trying to clean up the areas around the curb, but I mean, it almost makes it look worse than leaving it alone, but at least it gets some of it up. So probably when, they move out typically what, September-ish? Early October, they'll start moving out. And so I think they did a conceded effort last year. Parks did to clean up when they're gone, and we'll do that again. And then probably as soon as they're out, we'll work with animal control, see what's gonna be, what we can do. Cause they don't want to deal with it. I mean, it's a lot of staff time. Yeah, they're out there every day checking those areas. And so, you know, it's tough to deal with all that.
The
So,
only downside to having so much green space
right.
around other areas that don't have it. This is where they're gonna land.
Mhm.
Anything else on CA?
No. It's prettier there for them.
Okay, C9, receiving recreation division update.
Yeah. Well, actually,
So for our particular divisions, the dog park will be closed June 24th through July 15th for resodding for the next 3 weeks. That starts next Monday. The gym will be closed July 15th through the 19th and reopen on the 20th to install our new bleachers that are coming in. And then to touch base on what Mr. David was saying earlier, for those of you that don't know, that we have made an executive decision to cut all news channels from all our TVs in the building. So for the past month or so, we've been having some feedback from members that are residents that they don't like certain news channels versus others, certain political views versus others. And so just kind of a little bit berating my staff. And so my staff is like 17 to 20-year-olds. They can't really aren't equipped to try to handle these situations, right? And those decisions are out of their hands anyway. So we made an executive decision with our team to just cut news channels for now, just so across the board everyone's equal right now. So that is what Mr. David was talking to earlier. We had spoke last week on the phone about it.
So, to me, that is such a sad commentary of today's society. That, no, so for, no, let me, bear with me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be on a soapbox here, but we have an election coming up November the 5th. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican or independent. It is a very important election. And one thing about our democracy is we need an informed citizenry, informed citizenry to have a democracy that functions. And the fact that our poor people are getting berated by people who want to change channels. And the fact that we had to go nuclear and have no news channels on either upstairs or down. What a sad commentary of today's society. I mean, it's just sad, it's pathetic. And I'd be willing to bet I know what it is, because in the downstairs area, we had MSNBC and we didn't have Fox News. Now upstairs, we had Fox News and CNN. So I'd be willing to bet that one of the Fox News people that like Fox News got upset because they saw MSNBC and not Fox. So to me, the answer would be, well, go ahead and put on Fox so that they won't be so upset. But it's so, to me, it's just so sad that in today's world, and to me, the fascinating thing was you put a Fox News next to MSNBC and have them right next to each other so everybody could see, wow, now you understand why everybody doesn't get along with each other, because you have two completely different views of what's going on in the world just watching these two channels. But anyway, I'm sorry. It's sad to me that 17 to 20-year-olds are being berated by people because they can't watch Fox News in the downstairs area. And to me, like, boy, give them Fox News. Put Fox News on several channels. I'm sorry, it's just sad. It's a sad commentary.
Yeah, my point was gonna be that 12 years ago, when I bought my first gym, I did the same thing. I don't know whether it was Fox or CNN, whoever I put up on. And I had members come in and say, I'm going to cancel my membership if you leave that up there. So I said, fine, I'll change it to Fox. I had people come in, you either change that, or cancel my membership today. So I went totally sports. And that was 12 years ago that happened. So it's within the last 12 years, but I could have sports, just, and HGTV.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
sports and HGTV.
Yeah.
I'm thankful. I'm very thankful that we upstairs, because I use the elliptical and the Stairmaster on the individual. You still have access, because if I'm watching CNN, somebody who loves Fox is not going to be mad at me because I'm watching CNN, or vice versa. I mean, thankfully you didn't take it off, because it is nice to have. Back in the day, if I remember correctly, downstairs they didn't have the TV. You had you didn't have that up. So I
don't have anything downstairs.
I'm here 5 days a week. This gym is fantastic. The staff is fantastic. Everybody's so nice. It's just sad to me that 17 to 20-year-old kids are being berated because they don't have Fox News there. They're upset because they see MSNBC.
You're exactly right. I don't disagree with you, but I will tell you, it probably is not going to be a temporary thing. You'll probably just leave it the way, with that, with the
I
sport.
agree with sports and HGTV.
It's not working.
Call it a day.
It's not working.
Going is just, especially with the Olympics coming up, so you'll see a lot of that in all our meetings. But just kind of keeping it neutral, it's just easier on my staff. I'm sorry, they're the ones that are here at the forefront, so. That's the decision we'll go with.
One thing you might have a little trouble with, so for example, the Mavs it's over with, but some of those games were on channel 8, which is ABC. So then you got to put it on for the Mavs game, and then turn it off, because the next morning it's going to be news on channel 8. So it's just sad. It's just, I'm sorry. It's just sad.
But it's,
If they want to see certain news channels, they have the option on certain machines, most machines that have it, so that's the direction we've been going.
What's
I personally
what's
prefer
sad
to
is
keep the news
you
out of my
put
head
up
when I
with
work
that.
out. So.
I
It's
would
just
just,
pathetic.
I would just tell them to leave.
It's pathetic commentary on today's society, but I'm so sorry.
But the problem is it never ends. It never ends.
no.
It's the right decision he made, because there's no reason for a 17, 20-year-old to get that kind of feedback, and have to deal with that kind of.
yes.
I agree 100%.
It's
I
just
support you.
pathetic.
Well, I would
And there's
say,
no win. You can't win it. It's an argument. You can't win.
The back end. I'd rather see that than I today.
Well, no, you just tell them, because people are complaining about, because they didn't have Fox News in the gym. They had to watch MSNBC. Oh my goodness. What a travesty.
yeah,
Sorry. I'll be
But
quiet.
that wouldn't be good customer service from the 17 to 20-year-old's point. So
well, yeah,
that's not a channel that's currently available. That's
it's a debate
perfect.
that goes on and on. Yeah, I did. Okay, well, never mind.
Thank you.
All right, let's go on to C10. Receive an update from board members on parks, programs, events, or facilities attended in the city of Farmers Branch. Any kind of feedback for the recreation and the aquatic staff?
No,
It was really rainy and then it was really hot. Can't really help that.
It was really rainy.
It was really raining.
Really raining.
So
Okay, then we'll just move on to C11, discuss potential agenda items for future meetings.
So we do not have a meeting in July.
Here.
And then just let me give the board, so, I didn't hit on it yet. There's a couple things going on. We are in the middle of budget process, so I would just remind the board, if you're interested in anything going on budget wise, YouTube, council meetings, you don't have to watch it when they go on. They're there anytime. So you can kind of keep up with what's happening. And then, because board appointments are a little bit later this year than they typically are, they're gonna actually appoint boards in July. Typically, they do it in June, and then that new board member would start in July. So it's a good thing we don't meet in July, because hopefully by August meeting, everything's resolved. We'll have new board members in place in July. So just let everybody know, if for some reason we do or did have to call a July meeting, those that are kind of going off the board, we might need you around just for a meeting. But at this point, we're not planning on a July meeting. So but I wanted to let everybody know.
I think I started in August last
So is
year
anybody
too,
going
though.
off? Is anybody going off?
Okay.
Everybody usually starts. we don't
They
have a
didn't
meeting
get a
in
hold of
July.
me until.
Yeah.
Everybody coming on or going off the
Really?
board?
I don't have the list with me.
Patricia.
I should be going off.
Yes, right.
I'm going off. I don't know if anybody else is going off.
Patricia
Patricia, what was her name?
Lavelle.
Oh, okay. And she hasn't come to the last couple
Is
meetings.
she going off?
Yeah, she's rolling off.
Anybody that wants to be secretary next year.
Have they had any more discussion about consolidating the boards?
I do know that I guess it's on review in 2025, all the boards, so Park Board, Arts and Culture. I guess it's renewed, the renewal period for all those boards is in 2025. So I think this time next year, the council will be looking at probably all the boards to see, it'll probably come up again next year. Yeah,
Is there a branch connection board?
there's a senior advisor. Yeah, so the boards that are under Parks and Rec is the Park Board, Senior Advisory Board, Arts and Culture Committee, Historical Park Board, and library board. So we have 5 boards that are under Parks and. So yes, consolidation would be nice, but we'll keep managing how we need to man. I know it was brought up, it has been brought up previously, but
Do you go to 5 board meetings?
don't.
Oh,
I did 1 month and I decided I'm not gonna do that again. So, we spread the wealth. We've got, Jessica attended arts and culture yesterday. We typically all can go to senior advisory because it's during the day. That's one we can do during work time. Historical Park Board is managed by the historical manager, Hillary. And then she also oversees arts and culture as well. And then library director takes care of that one. So, I'm kind of recruiting some internal staff to kind of help with some of the boards. So,
I guess the reason I was asking is because we always talk about the branch connection, but then we don't have anything really to do with the branch connection, do we?
well,
we just give it a generalized
Mhm.
update of the facility.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
We get asked a lot about branch connection stuff.
Because other people don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have the information.
A lot of people think it's the same board.
Well, and just to give you an idea, so senior advisory right now, because of all the construction, like the last meeting, they were looking at furniture for the facility, the updates. Well, I would say typically that would be a park board function if we did not have a senior advisory board. But because they're doing that, they took care of that. We don't have to bring it to this level. If for some reason something changed, that would be something that, because you're involved in facilities, that's part of the board purview. So,
I do have 2 things.
yes, ma'am.
I'd like to at some point know what's going on with the church. We need to know tonight.
Sure. Upcoming agenda item.
What's going on with the church?
Turf, we're on good turf.
Oh, it's helping.
It is open.
So,
Oh, the soccer,
Well, we
Late night soccer.
curtailed because we don't have lights still because there's some back order for the electrical box to go in. And we kind of made a decision to make it more of just a place where you can run drills in it versus actually trying to play a game. So the goals are removed. So if they bring their own cones or whatever and do that, it's kind of push the adults per se
The other field.
to other fields because they want to play a game. And we did receive a call today that from an adult wanting to know so they could play their Saturday pickup games and that the goals would not be going back in as of right now. So it's been nice. I will tell you, I've driven by several times and it's kind of nice to see dad and a couple of kids out there playing. And because I've worked late every night this week and there has been kids out there and I've stopped a couple of times and talked to them and they say it's kind of nice. They kind of missed the games, but I said, did you really get to play? Well, no, not really. So
it's focused on what it was meant to be. And it's funny how you just take the goals out and the whole changes. It has kind of the whole use of it changed, yeah.
oh yes, we've
Yeah.
got goals.
Take the basket away from basketball.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
Move someone else.
Dribble around.
Well, it's kind of like taking the net off of basketball, right? You still can use the goal, but it's,
Not the same.
the thrill isn't there, right? Yeah.
They were brand
I
new.
was watching
Matter of fact, we stole them from them and then bought another set.
special events, reducing the number of special events and Bloom and Bluegrass going to a hotel.
So let me give you an update on that. So what we looked at is, so we still will have Bluegrass this year. And the way Bluegrass is funded, it's funded out of actually 2 budgets. So we've already paid for some of the items for this year. We'll have to pay in the next budget for the remaining. We put a lot of deposits on the bands and things like that. So that part will be paid in the next budget. But what we're looking at for 2025, other than paying for the items this year, is to move it to an event where it's held in the summer. What we talked about, so it'd be a time when hotels are low attendance in the city, and it would work with the tourism group to have an indoor event. So a few years ago, when it was canceled, they moved the whole event inside to I believe the Renaissance Hotel, and it was a great event, and they were able to accommodate it, and people liked it. So kind of using that as the model, that when you kind of go back to
So
that.
is this something that promoter wanted to Is this something?
It's kind of, he's been speaking with he already has smaller events at hotels. And so and from that event, when they moved it, he's discussed it with the tourism group and they feel like it's something they could help. It helps the hotels, hotel motel. And so it's kind of a win-win if we do something like that. So it's still working through the budget process, but that's kind of what we're looking to move to. And council could authorize some funding to help seed that event, like pay for some of the bands and things. But the big help from a staff perspective is that the whole logistical side of it, which is very expensive from a city standpoint, would go away because it's all inside.
It's not gonna be outside. So when's the last time it's gonna be happening?
It'll be there this year. We're gonna have bluegrass this year. It'll be just like it always was. This would be for 25 that we're talking.
It would also remove any weather issues
Correct. They can have it any,
unless we lose power.
And we're also, yeah.
correct.
Generators.
And I will tell you, so I came from Wiley and they do a bluegrass festival outside and I think theirs is in July. So very similar makeup, but that's, it's a bluegrass festival.
And our primary focus, and you'll notice in the names of the coordinator and the manager, it's community. And so we're looking to focus more on community type events. And Bloom and Bluegrass, although we do have residents that enjoy that music and enjoy the event, it's primarily focused on non-resident out-of-towners. And so the vision that I have for my team is that they focus more on calling the residents, marketing to the residents, not always marketing to everybody to see on Facebook and see all over news channels. Like let's hit the mailboxes of our residents and let's bring our residents to the events and let's cater to and provide this service free and at a good level for the residents of Farmers Branch. So Bloom and Bluegrass is just one of those that doesn't quite meet the criteria of servicing our Farmers Branch residents. So that's just one of those kind of reductions, not necessarily going away. It's just going to look and feel a little bit different, but it's going to help our economic development. The hotels are super excited about it. Alan Tompkins is super excited. Jalson and I met with him last week for a meeting to go over it. And it's something that, there will still be Farmers Branch support. It'll just be different.
And it's kind of to refocus in what Jess said too, is we presented council with focusing on 4 large events. So we'd have our spring gateway event, you'd have your summer 4th of July, then we'd go to the fall Halloween event, and then we'd have a Christmas. So we'd have four seasonal large events and still provide a good service to the rest of the city. So that's kind of how we're moving. So 2025 will look more like that.
And it can cut down on our budgeting for special events. And in the end helps our department budget and our overall city budget as well. So that's one thing, it's like, oh, we're switching from special events to community events because we really want to focus on our community.
Well, it seems like for the last 10 years, we were focused out and now we're starting to focus in.
Yeah.
We've been listening, the staff's been listening to what the residents have been saying. And for the last couple of years and stuff, it's like they were going big on everything. Well, it seems that our residents want to have a more smaller, intimate type for them and not everybody else to become blood in them. So.
Seems like the city government has been trying to downsize instead of outsize. All right, anything else they want to add to the agenda for August?
Update on community.
Okay. Anything else? All right, I hear a motion to adjourn. That's second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes, thank you all. Thanks, staff, for your